Hi guys, welcome to the last assignment in your Adobe Illustrator Chapter 2, the restaurant logo, also known as the hole-in-one restaurant. So we're going to start with looking at your book on page 242. At the very beginning says open 2/5 and save it as restaurant logo. So I'm in Canvas here. I'm going to go down to 2/5 and open that up. That should automatically open up Illustrator because I don't have Illustrator. It's opening up on my other screen, and I'll drag it over here. There it is. So I have Illustrator open. Notice the white screen. That means I need to go to View, Preview to see my image. I've got a bunch of panels in the way, but to begin with, you can go to View and fit artboard and screen, or you can fit artboard and window, or you can double click on your hand tool, whatever you need to do to be able to see this at full image. So the next thing you need to do is save your image in your H drive. So go to File, Save As, and save this in your H drive. And we need to save this as restaurant logo and hit enter. Okay, it says using a bold font, type now open on 2 lines anywhere on the artboard using all capital letters. Hint, the font used in figure 61 is Impact. So let's grab that type tool and we'll just start by clicking once. We're going to go to our character panel. The thing about this last chapter is it is skills review. So your book is expecting that you know how to do certain steps. For instance, it tells you to use a bold font, but it's not telling you how to go find one. You should know from our last lesson, in order to find a different font, you can go to View, and then go to Window, and then go to your Type in your character panel. And here you can choose different fonts, or you can make different fonts bold. But if we go through, we can actually just type what font we want. Let's say I want to use what the book is using. The book is using Impact. I'm going to start to type Impact, and you can see it's right here. It says it wants us to use Impact and use 2 lines. So even though it says something else on here, I'm just going to start to type now in all caps. Hit enter and then open. All right. On 2 lines anywhere on the artboard. Okay, so number 3, change the font size to 29 and the leading to 25. So I'm going to click on my selection tool. It is now selected, and I want to change my font size to 29. Just type it in. And the leading to 25. We can click on this arrow to get all of the different attributes. So if you click 3 times, you have all of them. And just hover until you find the leading. So this is our leading. And I'm going to highlight this. And this needs to be 25. Hit enter. So it closed the space between now and open. We're going to do one more thing, even though the book doesn't tell us to do this. I'm going to click on Paragraph and click on Center so that this is nice and centered together. Okay, so I need to go back to my character panel and verify that the baseline shift is set to 0. So we can go and find our baseline shift. And here's our baseline shift, and it is set to 0. Change the alignment to center and the horizontal scale to 75. Well, I already did that. I hit center, okay? And then I need to find the horizontal scale. Whoops, center. Go back to my character panel, and then find the horizontal scale, which I think that's the vertical, that's the horizontal scale. And I'm going to change that to 75 5%, so it kind of squished the now in the open. Position the text in the center of the white circle. Hide the text. Save your work. Copy the beige circle. See how your book isn't telling you how to do this? But you should know you click on the circle with your selection tool, and then you go to Edit and Copy. These are things you know from the last lesson. Paste the copy in front of it. Paste in front. Click the Type tool. Then select all of the green text at the bottom of your artboard with the Type tool. Copy the green text. Click the Selection tool. Then click the top of the beige circle. Click the Area Type tool. Click the edge of the top of the beige circle, and then paste. Center align the text in the circle. So I went to the paragraph panel and hit the center align. Change the baseline shift to -4 points. Hit Enter. Which I don't know if it changed it, so I'm going to make sure it changed it by clicking on my selection tool and selecting that type. And it did not, because I'm looking at my baseline shift. So now I'm going to hit -4. Okay? Remember that Illustrator works in selections. Fill the selected text with the same fill as the beige circle, which is 50% orange. So you can go to your swatches panel and hover until you find 50% orange. So we can just click on that color and it changed the text to that color. On the color panel, drag the magenta slider to 40% to darken the text. Here's the color panel, and we're going to take that magenta and we're going to drag it to 40% to darken that text. You can see it darkened it a little bit. Then hide your text. Save your work. Okay, getting there. Page 242 at the top, position text on a path. Select the dark gray circle. Click the Type on a Path tool. Then click the top of the circle. Using a bold font, type the hole in one in all capital letters across the top of the circle. Hint: the font in figure 61 is Arial black. So we're going to make Arial black on ours. And I'm just going to type Arial. And then here's Arial black. Okay. If your type appears at the bottom of the circle, then drag. So I'll show you how to do that. So now I'm going to type, and I'm putting my caps lock on so it's easier. The hole, and then hyphen, in hyphen 1. Alright, now I'm going to click on my selection tool and select that hole in one. It says if your type appears at the bottom of the circle, drag the start or end bracket to position the type at the top of the circle. Zoom in so you can see clearly and see the brackets. If you move the circle instead of the type, undo it and try it again. So we know that there's a start and an end bracket. See how my cursor changes? If I hover over the start bracket, I'm going to drag that closer to my text over here. You don't want to go past the end bracket because watch what happens. It gets rid of your text. So I'm watching the E on the 1 as I'm dragging to get that to not overlap that space. Now I know here's my start bracket. Actually, I grabbed the wrong one. Okay, but I'm just going to leave them. And then I'm going to take this top center bracket and center it at the top of my circle, the hole in one, and then leave it. Change the font size to 36 points. Hit enter. Now I need to change it again. Okay. Set the horizontal scale to 75%. Let's check. That's the horizontal scale. It should be 75%. The fill color to white. So that's pretty, there's lots of different ways. That's your fill color. I can click here, I can click here. Alright, number 5. Click the selection tool, which we already have. Click edit on the menu bar. Click paste in front. Well, first we need to hit copy. Then we go to edit, paste in front. Then move the center bracket clockwise to position the copied text across the bottom of the circle. Select the copied text with the type tool and then type restaurant. Get our regular type tool again, and I'm going to type restaurant. My caps lock is still on. Drag the restaurant text across the path to flip its direction. So we know from Barry's Symposium that you have to grab that center bracket and watch, slowly drag it across your base, and then you can move it back and forth to get it centered. Your baseline, your path. Okay, mine moved, so I'm going to go back and adjust it again. It can be a little sensitive, so if you have to do it more than once. So here's a couple of hints on what I look for when I'm dragging mine. I'm looking at where my cursor is, because anytime you flip, if you go across the baseline or the path, it's going to flip your text. So I'm looking at that, and I'm also just looking at the position of the word as I'm dragging. I'm not necessarily looking at where my cursor is. But sometimes it takes a couple of times. Apply a negative baseline shift to move the text below the path. The baseline shift uses figure 61 as 26, so we're going to try 26 to see if that's okay. If we have a different font, if you have a different font than Arial Black, then you're probably going to have to do something different. So let's find that baseline shift, which I believe is here, and then I'm going to highlight that and type negative 26 and hit enter. That looks pretty good. So we know from hole-in-one that we can also change other things like the horizontal scale to get rid of the amount of space between the letters. The other thing that we can do is we can change the kerning. Or I'm sorry, not the horizontal scale. We want to change the tracking and the kerning. So let's start with our tracking. And we want to go below to start to squeeze together. Let's see what happens when I change the kerning. I don't know that it's going to let me change the kerning, but we'll try. No, it's not. Okay, so I know I need a lot more than negative 22 on here. So I'm going to type -50 and hit enter.